governor doesn't want to do another economy-crushing lockdown. He's kicking it to the counties, which say a patchwork approach to lockdowns would be foolish. Meanwhile, COVID-19 hospitalizations are still spiking, so you know what? The virus may make the decision for them. We get to the bottom of this persistent idea that it's out-of-staters driving up Colorado's COVID numbers. The impact of trying to kick Coloradans off their health insurance in the middle of a pandemic. A local election where the votes are still being counted and it's clear the vast majority of voters don't like the winners. And rural Colorado's idea about wolves. It's revenge on the Front Range. That's next. It's not clear if a statewide lockdown would solve Colorado's growing COVID-19 crisis. It is clear the governor does not want to be the one to do it. Local public health leaders wrote him a letter saying the state needs to stick to its criteria and really crack down where the cases are spiking. I'll bring in Steve Steger off the top here. Bottom line, Steve, you have counties in Colorado where by the state's own criteria there could be a lockdown, but it appears that nobody wants to be the one to take that extreme and obviously very costly step.
At least no one wants to be the one to make the decision, Kyle. It is a tougher challenge than I anticipated to get in touch with some of these health leaders today. We should say that this letter was first reported by Ben Marcus over at Colorado Public Radio. Now, in the letter, public health leaders say rising case counts are making it difficult for them to do things like contact tracing to control the cases within their counties and cities and get themselves to another point on the metric. Now, if you look at the state's dial right now, most of the metro area is in the red, meaning hospitalizations and case counts meet the state's metric for a stay-at-home order. The letter reads, like you and our county leaders, we would like to keep our community sectors and businesses as open as possible, but worry about delaying the strong medicine of a level change until it is too late to be effective. Now, the governor has long said that local health departments can make their own decisions. And I asked Jeffco's director of public health, who signed this letter, if they're just trying to get the governor to make an unpopular decision for them.
Our Metro Denver Partnership for Health has a voice. Likewise, state has a voice and the governor has the voice and he has the final authority. So that's where we want to bridge it all together, just because this is such a critical time.
In other words, you want the governor to make the final call.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that this is a bridge together, that we want to make sure that we're doing everything that we can together, because when we are together, we're going to be stronger. And we don't want to surprise anyone. We don't want anybody to come in and swoop in and make a decision without listening to our voices. So nothing about us without us.
Now, Huffman did tell me that the local health departments in the metro area are already having a conversation about what to do to control the spread within these counties that are right on top of each other. Right now, they're comparing notes about what's working in some counties that other counties may not be doing. So they're looking at things like Adams County and Denver County, which both have a curfew right now. It'll take them a little while to see if it's being effective. A stay-at-home order is unpopular and it would damage the economy. And at the moment, Kyle, it would seem that neither the governor nor these local public health leaders seem willing to make the decision to get us there.
It's a bridge, Stephen. I thought she was going to use your full name there for a second. It's a bridge. They want to cross it together, arm in arm. Yeah.
Yeah, they want everybody on the same page is the point that they're trying to make here. Though the letter says we don't want to wait too long for this strong medicine because of what might happen, which seems to indicate they're trying to say, hey, governor, you have the power to do this. It's just kind of up in the air who might eventually do it.
Sure. Just real briefly, is that a new sweater? That looks very nice.
It's been in my closet for a little while. I decided to try it out, and I didn't have any time to change it before the show, so you get to see it.
First time on the program. I think it looks lovely. Thank you, Steve. Douglas County's Republican commissioners are trying to now make up with their public health leaders, the health department officials that they tried to fire for putting COVID-19 restrictions in place in Douglas County. So Dougco, is going to go rogue and create its own health department rather than share Tri-County with Arapahoe and Adams. But figuring out how to build and pay for a health department of their own turned out to be considerably harder than just blustering about it. So Douglas County commissioners today let Tri-County know they'll stay together. Let's look at Colorado's statewide numbers. Still not encouraging. We've been checking cases daily because we've said if the wave is flattening out, if this surge is coming to an end, we're going to first see that plateauing in cases. We are not. Almost 3,400 new ones yesterday. Weekly average is over 3,200 new cases in Colorado a day. I get it. We're testing a lot, so we're going to see a lot of cases. Back in the spring surge, though, with our very low testing, we were seeing 400 to 500 a day. Hope that this levels out soon. Yesterday, our test positivity rate was 12.3%, brings our weekly average for tests coming back positive to 11.7%. What that generally indicates is we're not doing enough testing to quickly catch people who are positive and then get them in isolation before they can infect more people, including possibly vulnerable populations. Then you got a pretty out of control situation at the El Paso County Jail right now. It is a massive outbreak where more than 70% of the inmates have COVID. More than 900 of the 1,200 inmates there are positive, 73 staff members as well. The encouraging news is Sheriff's Office says at this point we're talking about mild to moderate cases and no one has had to go to the hospital. Hospitalizations are, of course, our most important marker for the surge because it shows us the trend in serious cases and it continues to outpace even the trend lines over the last couple of days. This is serious trouble. It's not what we want to see. 1,116 Coloradans are currently hospitalized. That's up 56 from yesterday. We have jumped more than 300 patients in a week with, again, no sign of slowing. Tonight's next question came in from Russ and a few others of you. So Russ has got neighbors with family in Montana, and they heard that because Montana's hospitals are full of COVID patients, they're sending them down here to Colorado. Russ wanted to know if out-of-staters are ballooning up Colorado's hospitalization numbers. No, not really, to be honest with you. Colorado's COVID-19 numbers are not significantly impacted by out-of-state patients. The Colorado Hospital Association, which surveys all of its members, thinks that we have about 25 out-of-state patients out of 1,000 plus. So we're talking less than 3% of our hospitalization numbers. Now, the reason that patients would be sent into Colorado in the first place is because we have larger hospital systems than some surrounding states. Some of the less populous states nearby can get overwhelmed, and they send their patients here because we have the infrastructure to handle that. In fact, a lot of Colorado's hospital systems were built with extra capacity for this purpose, to serve as a regional hub. So we've got 24 out-of-state patients here. And keep in mind, there's a chance that a few Coloradans are being treated for COVID-19 in other states. Colorado school districts are getting ingenious to deal with the learning challenges during the pandemic, and the state today is rewarding the best ideas with cash. $500,000 for a school bus classroom in remote Lake County, $850,000 in the San Luis Valley for schools to focus more on their rich history in that part of Colorado. $33 million in grants announced today. Schools trying to do things differently in a decidedly different time. So, this is healthcare season. When open enrollment starts at your workplace, when you stare at a computer wondering for at least 3 minutes, do I need dental coverage for an infant? Much more importantly, and much more seriously, today in Washington, conservative justices on the Supreme Court indicated that they are not likely to strike down the Affordable Care Act and strip away many Coloradans' health coverage. Politics guy Marshall Zellinger looks at the impact of the debate.
Sign up now. That's the homepage of Connect for Health Colorado, the insurance marketplace where nearly 159,000 Coloradans have gone to get health insurance. Last year, those covered through the exchange received $721 million in federal subsidies to help them pay for coverage, money that would go away if the Supreme Court determines the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, is unconstitutional.
Based on the way the oral arguments went today, I think it's unlikely that the Supreme Court invalidates the entire Affordable Care Act and that we're in a position where folks are left without health insurance.
Jessica Smith is a constitutional law attorney in Colorado.
Oyez, oyez, oyez.
She listened in on the Supreme Court hearing today that focused on the individual mandate, the part of the Affordable Care Act that requires you to have health insurance. Up until last year, you had to pay a tax penalty if you did not have health insurance. Congress got rid of the penalty, but the law still states you have to have insurance. And that's being challenged by a group of 18 states with Republican attorneys general or governors. And they're saying if the mandate is unconstitutional, all of the Affordable Care Act must go.
Alternatively, and what is much more common and what looks like is going to happen is Path 2, which says Well, fine, if we strike down the individual mandate, the rest of the statute stands.
If the Supreme Court gets rid of the requirement that you have to have insurance, but keeps the Affordable Care Act, your coverage next year should be unaffected. However, if the Supreme Court rules the whole law unconstitutional, the federal government won't have to provide Colorado the 90% it currently does to cover 450,000 who enrolled in Medicaid as a result of the Affordable Care Act. That's nearly $2 billion Colorado would have to find somewhere else to provide the same coverage, if the Supreme Court gets rid of the Affordable Care Act.
I don't think it would happen overnight, mostly because nothing in our government happens that quickly, but you'll see the government having to respond.
I want to be clear, nothing changes right now. Enroll as you normally would. Simply, arguments were heard today by the Supreme Court. It does not decide today. It's going to be a few months. To give you perspective, the faithless electors case in Colorado, the arguments were heard in May. The decision happened 2 months later in July, Kyle.
And you know, Marshall, this is like the big looming issue that we had with us throughout election season, talking about the impact of this case, and yet we knew that it wasn't going to come before the court until right after Election Day.
And it's interesting to hear the arguments that I finally understand how you can kind of get a feel for how they may decide, but Justice Kavanaugh made it clear in a couple of his comments that he thought you could take out this individual mandate portion of the law and probably sever that out and leave the rest as is, which is the fear for those that think this is going to impact health coverage, is that if you get rid of it all of that goes away. But Justice Kavanaugh made it seem like he might be on the side, we can just take that one portion out and keep the Affordable Care Act in law.
And on a universally appreciated note, it's wonderful, Marshall, to have your live shot working again for the first time in weeks. It's been a bit of an excrement sandwich for those who watch Next on a nightly basis. So coming through loud and clear, Marshall Zellinger, thank you. The secret is out. A legislator let slip about some new fencing going around prime real estate. You didn't hear it from us. 9 out of 10 voters in Parker did not vote for the 3 newest city councilors. How's that possible? And a Republican from rural Colorado says if the Front Range wants wolves so bad, he has a plan to put them there. Next. The People's Building in Denver is getting something to fend off the people. We accidentally found out that the state capitol is getting a new fence. The Capitol Building Advisory Committee met in private today to discuss sensitive security stuff. But when they came back in for the public portion, the public learned what we're not supposed to know yet.
I move to allow the Department of Personnel and Administration to move forward with the design for both the Capitol and Lincoln Park fencing, the design of the Capitol grounds perimeter bollards.
Senator Moreno, I thought we were making a general motion.
Senator Moreno, that's supposed to be a general motion. Yeah, so now we know they're getting a fence. This is clearly in response to this year's rioters that damaged the Capitol, graffitied the thing up. There's some windows smashed, vehicles, that kind of thing. Now, seeing that the Capitol is a public building and we taxpayers are going to pay for the security enhancements, we have asked them for whatever details they can release without endangering security. Because, I mean, eventually we're all going to look up and see the fence at the Capitol. So, secret's out. They're still counting votes in Parker's town council races, and the 3 new council members will have something in common. Most people in Parker did not vote for them. This is because there were 12 candidates running for 3 at-large seats. Vote for your 3 favorites. But then there was this really even distribution of the votes, so the top 3 candidates all have about 11% support. So when it goes final, Parker will be represented by candidates who got the most votes, but were not the preferred choice of 9 out of 10 voters. May I make a recommendation? It's about the wolves. We've talked about the wolves a bit. We have also openly wrestled with the fact that Coloradans in urban areas, they were really the drivers behind last week's vote to stick the wolves in rural parts of Colorado. Now there's a Republican senator suggesting that we drop some wolves on the Front Range to see how we like it. I recommend that you read the Aspen Daily News article on Senator Bob Rankin's plan to give Boulder and Jeffco a 1-to-1 wolf match for every wolf put in rural northwest Colorado. Rankin also claims that wolves snatch children, which is not supported by recent evidence. Wolf attacks are very rare. Easy for me to say, Colorado's not putting a wolf in my backyard. Anyway, you can check out the Daily News article on Rankin's doomed to fail wolf revenge bill on the Next Facebook page.
What a difference a day makes. Yesterday, cold and snow. Today, sunshine, blue skies, and temperatures close to 50. Did see 50s on the map in southern Colorado and wonderful cold temperatures in the 30s to keep that snow on the ground. Snow managers making snow, and Mother Nature will also be providing a few additional snow showers to the northern and central mountains. But for Denver, it is just going to be clear and cold overnight. Sunny and warmer tomorrow. The beginning of a warming trend that'll get us close to 60 by the end of the week. Tonight, fair skies and 20. That wave cloud along the foothills moves out. Highs back near 50 tomorrow. A warming trend heading into the weekend. Highs back near 70 degrees by Tuesday of next week. A beautiful day for Veterans Day on Wednesday.
A nurse doing double duty as an elected official wants Coloradans to appreciate everyone who does her day job.
Putting ourselves at risk is a big concern.
So she has an idea for a very visible tribute. Next. A nurse, who happens to also be an elected official, has an idea about how to remind Coloradans every day about what healthcare workers are doing for us. This is Commerce City Councilwoman Jennifer Allen Thomas.
This is my mission to get more people involved in nursing. My name is Jennifer Allen Thomas. I'm a family nurse practitioner, registered nurse. I'm also a Commerce City Councilwoman for Commerce City Ward 2. My husband and I were visiting out of state in Indiana, and I had a car pull up next to me, and her tag said BA nurse, and it said RN, and I got to thinking, okay, well, why can't Colorado nurses have a license plate as well? Especially with this pandemic going on, I thought now is the best time to try to do everything I can possibly to make this happen. Putting ourselves at risk is a big concern, and worrying every day, can we bring something home? I'm reaching out to people hoping they will click on the link and sign the petition that way. Once that is complete, the Department of Revenue has to verify the signatures. Then I will officially need help designing the license plate. And then once that process is complete, then they will send it to the legislation, and at that point they will vote. That's my goal when they see this license plate, and when I get those signatures, I hope every nurse in Colorado will represent our profession, because, I think a lot of people see us as a highly respected profession. It's been, one of the most trusted professions for years.
Councilwoman Allen Thomas will need 3,700 signatures from Coloradans before the legislature would vote on creating that new license plate. It is perfectly safe hitchhiking. It's the most Colorado thing we saw today. And your feedback next. The most Colorado thing we saw today is Frosty the Snowman hitching a ride. Ricky spotted the snowman last month after a snowstorm, just riding along and melting at Dry Creek Road and University in Centennial. That is good for a smile, and we'll take those wherever we can get them. John Cormie points out my bad math tonight, that if that Parker Council race was vote for your three favorites and the leading vote getters are around 10-11%, it's not accurate to say that 9 out of 10 voters didn't vote for him, because the pool of voters was larger. Good catch, John. Tom Graham says, is Colorado due for a lockdown baby boom? We're 9 months out. My favorite thing I saw in that was that if there's a lockdown baby boom, none of them will be second children. See you next time.